Thank you, Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute to this motion that is a nuclear regulatory bill, which I think it is coming in handy at the time we are focusing on our Vision 2030. Let me say this bill will mostly regulate the generation of power through the use of nuclear energy. And that is a trend that is going on in the world. If you check other international world, they are going that direction. In Africa, we have a country like South Africa, which depends on nuclear energy in the generation of electricity. We have countries which are preparing currently, like Nigeria, which has gone some steps, because you see, generation of nuclear is highly regulated in the world, and it has very few players because it's a very sensitive area. So a place like Nigeria, I think it has made some steps, and they have gone to some step now in the production line. They have identified where to produce. Countries like Uganda, Ghana, are also in the pipeline of trying to prepare for this generation. It is a preparation that takes time. Sometimes it might take 15 years. It might take 20 years. Mr. Speaker, there is a difference between nuclear energy produced using nuclear and the atomic bomb that we normally hear, because anytime you mention about nuclear, people tend to think about the atomic bomb. But the idea is a peaceful use of energy, nuclear energy, in the production of electricity. To produce electricity, you just need to turn turbines, which you can use water to turn, where you get hydro production. To do the production, because you can use geothermal to rotate the turbines, or the thermal to do the same, or you can use gas. But having said that, you will find that among these ones, they don't come in handy compared to the nuclear or the reaction of nuclear, because in nuclear, you will use uranium that will fusion and produce a lot of power that will turn turbines. Meaning that if you get a very good disposal method, you can use very good power that can last the country for many days, and also it can take the country to the middle income country, the way we have put our Vision 20, because we have to have enablers, and electricity is enabler for this Vision 20. Why nuclear? It is very reliable. If you read very well about the countries that use power, once you ignite the reactants, they can take 18 continuous months before you change the fuel again, meaning that for 18 continuous things, you'll not have the power breakdown that we normally have in the country time and again. So nuclear energy is a bit reliable compared to the others. It is also clean. If you compare the production, the burning of fuel like oil, petroleum, coal, the others are dirty compared to nuclear because you don't have those emissions. So it is a clear type of production method of generating power. Then it is cheaper because when installed, it runs continuously. It is not like oil where you have to keep on changing, doing that. You put the reactant in the fuel, and the fuel system fire itself for about 18 months continuously. So it is it becomes a bit cheaper. So it has so many advantages compared to the other production. For example, if you compare solar, which people say it is good, it is you can only tap solar during the day. At night, you can't store that energy. So it is half. When it comes to wind production, wind will blow when there is wind. When there is no wind, then the turbines will not be turned, and the production will be zero. When you compare other things like geothermal, the same thing happens. The production period of a geothermal, when you get a hole, you drill a hole, which also is expensive, you'll find that within a short time, because of the instability on the ground, you'll have also that exhaustion. So I think this is the way to go. We should not fear technology. And if you fear if you take, for example, analogy, because you see people will say, you bring nuclear energy, then there will be explosion, there will be atomic bomb and all that. If you fear energy, you'll be left behind. I was thinking if somebody was to try to introduce aeroplane at the moment and they tell you the plane will go up, you will imagine, suppose something goes wrong, you'll come down. So this is, I think, the right way to go. But what I tend to think, the body concerned should do a lot of education to Kenyans. It has to do a lot of citizen participation to make sure that at least people appreciate this aspect. Because any time you mention about it, people are not likely to appreciate it unless they are really educated on it. And also, I tend to think when it comes to siting the position, where to put these plants. Because if you have a plant that can produce a lot of electricity, there are those requirements of a nuclear plant, like it has to be in an ocean setup where there is a lot of water to cool the plants and all that. So there are those sites that need to be done, and then the citizen of those areas should be educated on the positive part of it as opposed to the negative part of it. So with those, I tend to think and support this bill and say we cannot be left by other countries. We should go where it is required. Because if you get 2 plants in this country, you just, with the kind of energy that we require in the country, I think 1 plant can run, but if we get 2, we'll have sufficient energy in this country. I support